everybody. Welcome back to Letters TV. We're in season 4. I'm Amber Cherise, founder of Letters from Your Mama, director of Letters TV, and I'm so excited to have you back for a 4th season. How exciting is that? So I ended my first season with my mom, so I thought I would start off with my mom this season. But first, we have a sponsor. So we're sponsored this season by That Good Piece, the luxury relaxation brand. And our featured candle today is Cried, Wipe My Tears. Moving on. I think that's really fitting, right? We're leaving some things behind and moving on. So I'm going to light this to get the vibe for today. So, Mom, the last time our audience saw you was last season, season 3. Really heavy, really emotional. You were in our He Should Still Be Here episode, which was dedicated to Ian, my baby brother and my mom's baby boy. He passed away in November 2020. And we spoke about that in the opioid epidemic and self-medicating. And you were also in our trauma episode, which was kind of linked together. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to pick up from there, like, how has your healing journey evolved, or how, I mean, it's never going to go away.
Right.
But how are you, like, living day to day now? Like,
well, I discontinued my one-on-one therapy, which is good. Now I don't have to call her every week, to talk to her about my feelings, because I pretty much have processed my feelings. But I have joined a grief share group, which I didn't think I would be able to do. I don't know if I had joined that group the last time we talked about that.
I think it was right in the beginning.
Okay. Grief share group, which is, several people. We're on a Zoom call. It's a couple times a month. It's like every other Saturday. We have facilitators who they'll play a video, and the video is like 45 minutes long, and it's different people sharing what they've been through and how to process it, their feelings. We have a workbook that we use, which is excellent. If you work the workbook, you will really be able to succeed in your grief journey. It's excellent. I mean, I think everybody should have a workbook like that. It just tells you the different steps of grief. It just makes you feel normal. It lets you know that what you're going through is normal, and that it's okay to grieve. And it talks about how a traumatic event it was to lose someone. There are people who've lost parents. We just had a session where there was a lady who lost her 2-month-old 2 months ago. Now, 2 months ago is soon. I couldn't join a grief share group 2 months after Ian passed away. I didn't think I would be able to join any kind of group.
Right.
I mean, I didn't want to sit and listen to, other people talk about their grief. So it took me a while before I was able to join that group. I am so glad I did. So now, after being in the group for over a year, they've asked me to be a facilitator.
That's amazing.
So who knew that I, of all people, someone who lost their child, would be able to now talk to other people and help them to get through with their grief. I can't believe it.
Navigate their healing journey.
Yeah, navigate their journey.
I think it's a lot, and I think that's a good thing for the viewers to see and to know, especially if you're in the beginning stages of any kind of healing process, because I didn't even think I would get out of bed again.
No.
Let alone be sitting here talking to you guys, let alone be doing any of the things that, I've been doing. Right. Do you have any other updates since the last time we've seen you?
Well, I can look at Ian's picture now for a longer period of time. I've created a little wall in my place, where I live, where I have my angels. So I have a picture of my mother, your grandmother. I have a picture of Ian as a child. And then I have a picture of my granddaughter, which I don't think we really talked about Melody as much.
We did, yeah.
Okay, because we lost Melody, my granddaughter, 8 years old, I don't know,
6
weeks after Ian passed away. So we really had a tough time, but I'm telling you, God delivers. I'm a faith talker. I'm a faith walker. And so I had to trust in God, really. I still am. It's a daily journey because I have my moments, as I know you do, where you just wake up and you're crying, and it hits you, it just comes out of nowhere, that large picture that you had of Ian, and that still shocks me whenever I whenever I see that picture, but it's better than it was. Hey, I'm alive. I'm still here. I'm working. I didn't think I would be able to. I just didn't see any purpose for my life after I lost Ian. But got other children. I got to move on. I got grandchildren. I got to move on. Had to move on. But I could only do that by the grace of God,
right,
and with help from family, friends, and this grief share group that I'm in. So now, yeah, I'm able to live normally. I mean, I didn't think I would be able to,
new normal.
Yeah, it's a new normal, right? It's a new normal. Now I'm like, oh, I have, people ask me, how many kids I have. Now I have to say, oh, three, three, and that's weird because
Not really. You definitely still say 4.
Well, I don't know.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, you have 3 kids, and I'm used to saying, Sean, Mark, Ian, Mark, Sean, Amber, Mark, I'm just used to. It's just, so now it's different, But we have 2 births. We have two babies that are named after Ian now in our family.
Yep.
So that's a blessing.
Exactly what I was getting to. So I was going to say that I think for me, I just know that he would be happy to see where we are. And I know I recently started going back to therapy because I couldn't be happy for the good things that were happening for me.
Mm-hmm.
So for my updates, I know the last time that I'm never on this side of the camera. I'm always behind. So you see me here. Mm-hmm. So the last time that you actually saw me on camera, I know we had a conversation about heartbreak. And that was right when I had my divorce. That was 2019. Mm-hmm. And just, I was not feeling it. I'm never dating again. I'm over it. And
right.
I sung a Marion song, like I got an icebox where my heart used to be. He was like, God is going to soften your heart. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to I don't want my heart soft. Right. I don't want none of that. But also, when Ian, it was the Friday before he passed away, we had a conversation, and he told me that, like, I just know that you can't take nothing else. Like, I just want you to see you settle in something good. And I was, leaving a relationship right around that same time, and he just was like not with it. He told me it was bakey. That's what he said. He said, I don't know, it seems bakey. And I'm like, what is bakey? And you used to always say, like, why do you listen to your little brother?
Like right.
Mama, he's still a man. He's a little 25-year-old little man. But him,
a baby.
But he was right. He ended up being right. But since then, I'll talk a little more in detail later in the season. You'll see a couple of my friends who will discuss my journey of just intentionality about, okay, let me try to do love again the right way. And I've been, I dated and I did that, but I'm going to do it a little bit more intentionally. And I end up meeting somebody who was in the same journey as me. We married. And I know you didn't like that in the beginning because we were both dating other people. And you was like, what is this?
It's online.
Online dating. You hated it. But our journeys were so similar. And it just was so weird how everything just happened. Like within 6 weeks, he already told me he wanted to marry me and this. And you're like, what? Y'all millennials. Like,
right.
But it just goes to show, like, when you know, and when it's the time, it's the time. And I think about that so much, how Ian would just be, like, happy. And I think that helps me get up. Like, let me, I have life. Since I'm still here, let me just do it right. He would be like, why would you waste your time? He'd be like, you look ugly when you cry. He would talk to me stuff like that.
Right.
So and that's the stuff that I really, like, think about. And, now I'm in a new marriage. I never saw that coming. And I never wanted another baby. Like,
we didn't want another baby.
I did not, because I get so sick pregnant. He was like, why would you put yourself through the sickness again?
Oh, Lord help us.
But yeah, so now we have a new addition to our family, Drew Ian Dawes. He's 7 weeks old. Our little chocolate drop. He's so amazing. Bella is a little mother, and Jaden is actually really, really excited to be a big brother to a little boy.
Wonderful to see.
Yes. He comes out his room. You know how teenagers are.
They don't come out.
He has to check on him. Can I speak to Drew? And it's just like, and then with my marriage, I also gained 2 bonus girls. So one's away in college. She's turning 21. And then my baby, Kamori, she's 12. She'll be 13. So I'm just really, really just living a new normal.
Life has totally changed.
Totally changed. And my husband filmed last season, so then y'all can be like, oh, okay, it's gonna come together, and he'll film later in the season as well. So that's my updates.
Good updates.
So healing, I think I talked about this before in one of my blogs. I think for me, I had to heal to really get to this point in love, because I feel like I attracted more to what I deserve versus, I don't know, just having, I don't want to say I was toxic, because I've never been that kind of person. But I think just being in that defensive, like, I'm independent and I don't need this, and I don't.
A little angry.
Definitely was angry. I had a lot of, like, childhood, like, traumas and things that needed to, what's the word? That I needed to, like, not heal from or move on from, or, like, get a grasp on. Process. Perfect. Process. That I didn't. So everybody knows, like, when I started this organization, one of the reasons why is because I was raped when I was 17, but I wasn't able to even talk about it until I went to therapy at 32, I think. And that's how this organization started. So for that to happen at 17, and then for me to meet the person I married at 19, that wasn't even enough time to even find myself and know myself at all. And then I became a mother at 21, and it's like, you didn't heal from none of that stuff yet. And I mean, a lot of it had to do with my relationships with my fathers. And then I know your father passed away at 4. So how do you think that big life change for you, how did that frame your thoughts about men?
Well, I think that having, not being raised with a dad, men bring so much to the relationship. I mean, in my opinion, that's why God created man and woman, and he put man and woman together to raise children, procreate and raise children, because there are things from a man that children need, and then, of course, there are things from a woman that children need. And I think that we're imbalanced if it's not that way. So I think I would have been more confident if I had been raised with my dad. I think that some of the decisions I made about the men that I chose would have been different if I had been raised with my dad. Self-esteem, my self-esteem, would have been higher and better. And I think I would have known my worth more if I had been raised with a dad. I mean, there's many things that I think that we miss as women and girls growing up with a dad, like if I would look at Bella, and she is so confident. She is so, at 6 years old, she is a self-starter. Like, she doesn't need anybody to tell her that she's great. She already knows she's great. She just goes out there and she does it. Whereas I was so shy as a child, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to leave my mother's side. I was bullied, when I grew up. I didn't know what I had in me. I didn't know what was inside of me. I mean, I finally realized I could sing. And when I realized I could sing, that did bring me out of my shell. That was when I was, I was really me. And thank God for singing, because I would still been a shy, adult. But, there's a lot. There's a lot that you miss, growing up without a dad. So, yeah, my life would have been totally different. I may not have had you, though, so I thank God.
I say that all the time.
Kids,
I need the children.
The children are the blessing out of my relationships. They are the blessing. And thank God for you all. Children are a gift. I mean, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have my kids. So, you have to look at it like that, good and bad.
Right. Hey y'all, this episode is brought to you by That Good Peace, the luxury relaxation brand promoting peace, mental healthiness, and presence. Be sure to head over to thatgoodpeace.com to check out all of our handmade candles, teas, and essential oils to levitate your senses, teleport your mind, and manifest your mood. This week's featured candle is Cried, Wipe My Tears, Moving On. To experience this candle for yourself, use the code LFMM4 at checkout for 20% off all of our products. So you said that you would have chose differently. So I know that me and you had prior conversations, and I can't remember if it was on film or just in the living room, like just talking. But you said that when you remarried, you knew that it was one of the things you wanted to do because you saw a provider.
Yeah.
But did you consider a protector?
Did I consider a protector? For myself or my kids, or what do you mean?
Did you see protector in him?
Yeah.
And what does protector mean to you?
Well, so the second time, definitely, he had the right words to say. I didn't take enough time to really, really, really get to know him. He just had all the wonderful words to say. Like things like, I really, really want to take care of you, and I already had kids, and I want, your kids. I want to take care of you and your kids. I love you. I want to, I want to be that for you. And then he's, a man of God, and that was something I always wanted. I wanted to be, because my prior marriage, I thought, that he was a Christian, and I thought that's what I was marrying, a man of God. I'm a poor judge of character. I really am. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And that's the truth, No insult. This is the truth. This is just the way I feel. Wonderful just people. Real. It's real. Yeah. I'm just not a good judge. Plus, I was naive growing up too, because my grandmother raised me, and we were raised in a strictly Christian household. Very strict. Things I couldn't do. Wear pants. I mean, jewelry, and she didn't want us at the movies. All this stuff that when I grew up and I figured out, well, I don't understand what God and going to the movies has anything to do with each other. I don't think God would condemn me because I had pants on. Right. So I just kind of figured that out for myself as a child. And so I moved away from the Pentecostal, my upbringing, and I, moved on to non-denominational, because I knew that having a relationship with God was totally different from the pants. He's not looking at my pants, religion, Right. So, anyway, that's the way I was raised. So, of course, I'm going to look for a man of God, but that's all I saw was, he's in church. He's a musician, which I like that too, because, I'm a singer. So I like that. And he was fine. Everybody's looking at how fine. And then, of course, sex is a part of it too, because, as a Christian, that if you have sex outside of marriage, it's a sin. So, man, I was thinking about that too. We better get married. And he was too. He was too. So, I can really say that, that had a part. So I didn't have anybody like you all have now. I didn't know about red flags. We didn't know about all that stuff, especially in the church, which I think they should teach in church, red flags and things like that. So, no, I really, think that things would have been differently if I had, if I had like, again, been raised with a father. I think my perspective on things would have been a lot different, and same with the second marriage. I was looking for a provider. I mean, I worked too, but, a provider, a protector, somebody that was focused, just mature, because I felt there was immaturity. Which it was. We were immature. When I was 18 when I got married. 18, yeah. I was almost 18, turned 19, and I thought I knew everything. But if my father was,
absolutely not.
I wouldn't have been married that young.
I don't think nobody's dad would be showing up at the wedding of the 18-year-old.
No. So, I would have, so now I know that, if any of my kids came to me saying they wanted to get married at 19, or 18, I would do everything in my power to stop that. So, my life is as it is. Things happen for a reason. And God used everything that I've been through to better me, to grow me, to make me strong. And to raise children to the best of my ability. And I believe that he would be pleased, he would be pleased. So I'm still learning and growing and evolving.
So we have had the hard conversations because the premise of letters is to bridge the gap between generations
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to have hard conversations in your home.
Yeah.
And I know some parallels that we discuss going to this situation I'm in now is my very first time blending a family.
Mm-hmm.
And my very first time having bonus children and my very first time being in a relationship where my children have to meet this new person and new family.
It's not easy.
And, a lot of that I thought about how I was blending when I was growing up. And a lot of the things that I did not want to do, I was really intentional about not making I'll say the same mistakes. Because when you got remarried, I was 6. Bella's 6. And Bella's very smart. And I was able to have conversations with her and with Jane as well. Well, I think that you didn't look at me that way when I was 6, being the oldest. We didn't have no conversations. I remember just waking up one day like, what's the stuff coming in? Who's moving here? Like, what's happening? I don't like it. And I think that shut me down from that moment because there was no discussions. So I think I made sure to have discussions. And then when you think about a protector, I had to make sure that mentally we were being protected and emotionally we were going to be protected.
Yeah.
Because I'd never had that growing up.
You are way further than I was, at your age doing this.
Yeah.
Way for you guys have so much knowledge out there. It's awesome. We didn't have any of that. Right. I didn't have any of that. Yeah.
Right. Because even for you, I don't feel like you were protected mentally.
Right.
And emotionally.
Who knew about that? I wasn't thinking about that. Was I thinking about that?
But you know one thing though? I think that was my perspective, but you never talked about it. Like, I don't think you ever said, like, I'm not happy. I'm not, like, did you journal? Like, who was your place? Like, what did you?
I did journal. I have a lot. Actually, I have a few journals in my storage spot.
I feel like I should keep them.
I feel like I need to find them to see what I wrote. Because I did. I would go down when everybody was asleep. And I would go down in the dining room and open my journals like late at night whenever, when the house was quiet and dark. And I would write how I felt or if I was upset today or like in my second relationship, he's big on not speaking if he's angry. And my family wasn't like that. If we had a conflict, we would talk it out and say, so there was no, I'm not speaking to my sister. I haven't spoken to my sister in 2 months. Like, we didn't know anything about that growing up. So when that first happened to me, and it was over something so minor too, and he didn't speak to me. This was in the beginning of the marriage too. You guys were little. You remember this, and he didn't speak, and I'm like, are you not speaking to me? I thought you said you loved me. I thought I was your wife. I thought this that. How are you not speaking to the person that you live with? And I'm leaving. So I went and
I remember that. You came out of us from school.
I'm like, oh, I'm getting ready to leave this marriage because he was not like that before we got married. I don't understand. He's not speaking because I disagreed with something that he said. You know what? I never got that. Like, I was always, I was pretty much outspoken by that time. And I didn't like being controlled. Like, I never liked being controlled. Anybody try to control me. So when I felt that, I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm not going to be able to, this is not going to be able to work. So I went, I said, I'm going to look for an apartment. I'm going to take my kids and we're getting out of here. I really did. I went to my pastor. Of course, the pastor ended up talking to him and explaining why it wasn't right but that's how he was brought up. That's how his family was. They were, you did that to me. And I mean, it was very small, something very small. And they would cut you off, or he would cut me off. I saw that in him. And he said it was from his upbringing. That was the way, So I'm not going to say I saw that in his family because I didn't. It was very early. But that's what he said. You just, he said he needed the time to work out his feelings. And that's what he said. And if he did talk, it wouldn't be good. So he needed, but in the other session, to me, it was, he's not speaking to me. So I didn't take it as any other way. So
I think that was your first experience. I guess when you don't have anything to compare it to,
yeah.
it's so for me. I feel like even though we didn't have those conversations,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of implied like that was kind of the cheat code, like what not to do.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
not kidding.
That's
Like
fine.
because we were talking about that the other day. Like you want to show up as the parent that you needed,
Mm-hmm.
or like
Hmm.
like I didn't want to. I didn't want that. Like I'm not. If this mirrors that, I don't want it.
And
Like
see, and that's awesome that you're able to glean that from the relationship and then take it to use it to your benefit.
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are not like that. They look at that and they feel like, okay, well, that's how I am because of how I was raised, or you just did the opposite. You said, I don't, I saw that, I don't like it, so I'm not going to do that because that was how I was
And
raised.
that's a perspective thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a whole meme. Like you could be raised by two people raised by the same parent. One will go that way, one will go this way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my brother spoke about that on last season.
Yeah.
Like I grew up, my dad was an addict growing up, but I'm not. Right. But he turned that way. It's like it's just you. I think you pick up different things from every lesson. Different people do.
Yeah, you do. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm happy that I can be in that space. But I do know, like in my first marriage, it was like, well, I remember you said something to me one time, like, God, when I like go to heaven, I want him to say, well done. It don't have nothing to do with that. Cause I'm like, why are you still cooking for him? Like, I used to get mad at you. Like, what are you doing? Why are you being nice? Like, what?
all of y'all had that, Sean said, my friends are like, why are you with this man?
I used to get angry.
Y'all, they're like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And, my friends are even saying, why?
But I remember you saying that. And like, I was like, okay, that's true. God is going to look at me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll just still cook or whatever. You eat, you don't eat, whatever. I'm just going to be good for my children.
Right.
But also, so I had that half, but then also I was like, I'm too young for this. Like, I'm not about to sit in this forever and decades and decades.
Yeah. And that wasn't good. That part of me that bore all that for all those years, that's not good. That wasn't good. So I would tell anybody, any woman, because of the church that we were raised in, the church that we joined, as a couple, we met in church, but the pastor was preaching that he's like, don't you say anything negative about your husband. Don't carry him down. Don't. So that was a part of the reason why I put up with what I did for all those years,
Mm-hmm.
But then there's, on the other hand, I knew God didn't want that for me, though. Like the emotional abuse, the mental abuse, the verbal abuse. I'm like, God, you do not want that for me. So I started talking. I started sharing how I felt and what was going on with me. And that really just, like God's word said, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, so I was able to talk that out, with Tika actually. Mm-hmm. And she's such a little wisdom, she's full of wisdom too, right. Being like my sister, being like Gladys, and she had a lot to say. And then once I started talking to people who I knew wouldn't share what I was talking about, because that was my other thing. People talk too much and they share all your business, I had up walls. I didn't think I could share that. But then once I did, and in the counsel that I got, and then as I got a little older and I saw, some certain things that I saw, and then the way I was living, I'm like, I know I don't deserve this, Right. But by that time I was emotionally spent. It was too late. I stayed too long. You were the one who had to go out and look for it, because I was ready to leave and I just didn't feel like I could and all that emotionally. You were the one who had to go out and look for an apartment for me. Right. You would call me and, Mommy, need you to meet me here after work. And, I found this apartment for you. And without you, I wouldn't be able to do that. And then when it was time to move, Tika, you guys, Daniel came through, Eric came through, my nephew, everybody who saw what I was going through were there for me. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't emotionally prepared even then, but I don't know, God, now I'm able to tell other women, other
Right.
people, and now I'm able to talk about my experiences in a different way. And I just
Right.
believe that's how God turns things around for your good. He didn't put me through that. I mean, he allowed it. I mean, he's not going to come down and speak in an audible voice, you better get out of that relationship.
Mhm.
He's not going to change us that way, but he will use your situation for others. It's a testimony,
Right.
So, yeah.
So I know last time we spoke about I think that that's what you said. You didn't know back then about red flags. And you said we were the woke generation all the way around. But I'm thankful for that because I don't know. I'm just
You
praying
thankful for
that
what?
I'm thankful that I'm aware of red flags.
Yeah,
I'm
I am
aware
too.
of
I
the
am too.
tools that I started going to therapy, that I did the self work so that I could show up. Not saying that I'm perfect, never going to be. I may be triggered, but I'm thankful that me and him, like my husband and I, have both experienced so much that we knew exactly what we didn't want, exactly what we wanted, and exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
And we're able to communicate and without yelling. There's no name.
Beautiful,
it's like
beautiful.
It's peace. So I'm thankful that in my 30s I can experience that. Yeah. Prayerfully till I'm 100.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Your trials help you to triumph. It's beautiful watching it. It really is beautiful.
Do you feel like you were protected as a child, because you didn't have your dad?
No. I wasn't protected. My mother, actually, I grew up with the mom who was sickly. She had heart issues. I feel like I did a lot. I think I kind of protected her. So no, I don't feel like that. And I know that I wasn't. I remember when we had everybody over at the house for Thanksgiving, and Maurice came there. My brother Maurice, he came, and he gave me a hug, and he kissed me on my forehead. No man had ever kissed me on my forehead before. And to me, that meant so much. Like, I got you. You're my little sister. It wasn't me kissing somebody. It was somebody who was actually protecting me. They were kissing me with no wanting nothing in return.
Right. Yes.
And I will never forget that as long as I live. That my brother actually kissed me on my forehead, and he didn't want anything from me. He just was loving me. And, and I think that's a part of what we need as girls and women. We need our dads to kiss us, and we need our dads to hug us and just let us know that, we love you just like you are, just as you are, and we don't want anything in return. And that was just a beautiful thing. So no, I never felt like I was protected in that sense. Like, I got your back, or I didn't think that.
And I think that's worth work. And young girls, you definitely need somebody that loves you, no strings attached. And I think that some kind of like male figure, because I feel like that is when you're in that little nook of 13, 14, 15, and you're experiencing all those transitions.
Yeah.
And it's like one person say that one thing to you,
right?
And you feel like you want to gravitate towards that
person. Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of young girls get into dangerous situations with older men as well, because you're missing out. It's like a void that person is filling.
Yep.
Temporarily, though.
Yep.
With a motive.
Yeah, definitely.
And so yeah, I'm glad that you said that. I mean, that's real. That's a conversation starter for everybody at home, especially people watching with a young girl. It's like, do you feel protected? And how can we change that for you now before, she gets 19 and she's out in the world and searching, and we want to promote healing way faster. We don't want her to go through none of this stuff.
Absolutely.
I know that I went through in college in my 20s and, things like that. But another thing that we've talked about recently, and this is just the whole update episode, is that, I think I wrote this in my blog, like, I'm just tired of being in situations where it's like it don't kill you, it'll make you stronger. If it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. And being like strong black women right? and resilient. I don't want it. I don't want to be strong no more.
It's strong enough, right? Yeah. What else do we have to go through?
I don't want to do that anymore. So how do you feel about that? Like that whole saying?
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, I do believe, that we go through certain things because of, but we have to use what we've gone through. We can't just sit on it and hold it and just sit there and say, oh, I went through that. No, open your mouth and share this thing, because you never know who is there, who's been in your shoes, that can't say anything. They don't have that voice that you do. So no, okay, I've been through this. I'm going to share it. But I do, especially me, I do have times where I say, Lord, what else do I need to go through? I have my moments where I get, a little sad, and I'm like, oh my Lord, because we've had some serious issues happen, just recently I lost my job. This is my career, my 30 plus year career. And did I seriously lose my job? I'm still in shock.
That was totally random.
It was very random, and I'm like, oh my Lord. Even people say, if people will say to me, close friends who I may have shared with this, what else can your family go through, Yvette? You have been through so much. And so I do have those times where I'm like, Lord, what in the world are you trying to teach me that I don't already know?
People have physically wrote that to me in my DMs. Like, since I've been following you, like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what to say. Like,
your family has been through so much, right? And sure, we will come out stronger. We are stronger for it. We can share with other people, But I do think, Lord, okay, God, you already know I'm going to give you the glory. Do I need one more testimony? I've got so many.
A season of rest, please.
Right? A sound like that. A season of rest, but I just take it as it comes. I'm always going to give glory to God, though, because I know without him, I wouldn't be able to get through any of these things. Who's smiling? I'm 58 years old, and I got to go on interviews now. Like, what is an interview? I got to learn how to go, on an interview. I got to look. Where am I going to look for jobs? Oh, LinkedIn. Oh, yeah, right. LinkedIn. What am I doing now? So,
what I would tell you? To start a business. And I think that you should start
a business. I know. I mean, even that, starting a business. How do I do that? What do I, so it's a lot. But I thank God for this time, too, because I was able to be there for you when you had Drew. I was able to be there. I had to take off for that. I was already off. Right. So I look at it, there's an upside to that, too.
So do you think, a lot of people say when you keep repeating, like the same things keep happening, or you might find yourself in the same sort of relationship or the same, like that you didn't learn the lesson yet? Like it's something else that you had to learn?
I guess. But when are you going to learn
what do we need? What else do we, like, I don't know.
But that's why we need people. That's why people need people. You need somebody to tell you. You need somebody that's going to be your confidence booster. Somebody's going to say, yes, you can do this. And then you need somebody that's going to tell you, you're ridiculous. Because here you go again with the same guy, and that's me with this that spirit of mercy that I have and everything. I'm like, can you write that down so I remember that happened to me, because I'm not going to remember that, like take a hold on to that, because I'll forgive the person forget all about what they've done. And I'll forgive the person, and that's just the way I am. I can't help the way I am, but yeah, we got to learn some lessons. We really do. And if we need, like I said, we need people. People need people. Right. Here on this earth, we need each other. And we need, yes people that's going to pump us up. Not yes people, but and then we need those people that's going to tell us the truth. Like, you got spinach in your teeth, we need people like that, to tell you the truth,
So the premise of the organization, it started from my mom pulling me aside in the kitchen and you were confiding me all these things that happened to you in your teenage years. And I'm like, why did you not... What? I would have thought you were human, like not like a mother. So
we didn't, like you said, you sat Bella down. At 6 years old, I wasn't going to sit you down. Like, I picture myself back then, and I'm going to sit you, Amber, let me tell you something. I
was very mature.
Get ready to get married again. Yes. I love him, and I thought it never crossed my mind.
Wow. But, that's why we have these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this episode is Letters to My Mama. So it's for all the girls that feel like it's hard for them to speak to their moms. just hard, or their dads. Hard to start the hard conversation. Like, I'm scared, I'm nervous, because you're my mother.
Yeah.
So I know that one thing that I wanted to say in my letter to my mama, it's like this in the air, it's not a real letter, is that I feel like you were not happy with yourself while I was growing, the whole time I was growing up. I never saw you look in the mirror like, oh yes, like I love this. You didn't like what you saw in the mirror, like you were always like doing weight loss, and I feel like I grew up that way, like not feeling worthy, no self-love, and I'm not crying on camera. I'm not doing it.
That's very true.
And I think, so my letter to you would be to break that generational curse with our little girl, Bella. And, you told me, I think you told me, don't get her beat up in school. Because when she was 1, I'm always like, you are the prettiest. You're the best. You're this, you're that. And I feel like I'm glad that we are in better spaces with ourselves so that won't continue. Because she had said something to me. Remember, what did she see? She saw something. Oh, one of her cousins said something about her tummy. And she's like, Ma, like, I saw this thing on YouTube. You put it on and to make your stomach small. And I fell out.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Yeah,
we don't like, we want her to have a positive attitude about her body.
And I'm so thankful now that I'll see her in the mirror like, Ma, and she just want to do everything that I'm doing. Like, Ma, can I have some of that lip gloss? And I'm like, she likes her thighs now. Like, I hated I'm like, I'm not wearing shorts. Right. I'm not. And I'm kind of thankful that I can sit here and know that a generational curse has been broken in our family. I mean, I could say it's been more than that. Yeah. But for that, I'm thankful. So if you're watching at home, I just want you to take inventory with your children. And you know what you grew up going through as a mother with your parents, or a little girl watching with your grandmother and mother's dynamic, and just saying, like, what can we change now so that doesn't continue on when this girl has kids?
Absolutely,
and is there anything you want to offer to the generational curses?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We just, especially with girls, because I did go through all of that body image and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I really thought I encouraged you as you were growing up. I didn't want you to go through what I went through, so I didn't call you fat. I didn't call you, I didn't do that because of all the ways I felt. So I love that. I love that. I love that we boost Bella up, because we see she has a pear shape already.
She's pushed out with that pear.
Right. So, and I love that I've learned that, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to break these generational curses. No way. Not having her go through, what I went through, growing up.
I mean, I pray not. Everybody's going to adapt their own way, but at least she'll know that every single piece of you are gorgeous. Right. You don't need, and if we do want to encourage working out and things, that she does work out with me as a family, but it's just to be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not for anybody else's opinion of your body and things like that. So, I love this update. I always love having my mom on, and this is something I always continue to do, just because I love doing it. Yeah, nice. And I'm just really, really happy that you're here. This is season 4. Season 5, we're trying to go on tour and just do some other little things. So if you like the program and like what you see here at Letters, please donate to us. Like, share, comment, just scream Letters TV to the world, because we're doing some good things over here. And I appreciate your support so much. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode of Letters from My Mama, please consider supporting us by subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a friend, and donating to Letters